October 1st. Tomorrow I return to work at Mrs. Winter's house. Last spring her porch was painted and to scrape up the drips. She'll likely stand over me while I do it and monitor me the way she did when I removed her storm windows. She'll play radio station WPJL, We Proclaim Jesus Lord, and Pick, Pick, Pick. She and her husband cleaned Trailways buses for 40 years. And because they're black, I imagine they've heard every insult in the book. Tonight at the IHOP, I sat next to 4 North Carolina State students. One of them was planning to break up with his girlfriend because she'd spoken to another guy. Another was short on money, and his friends offered to cover his bill if he'd drink the entire pitcher of raspberry syrup. I was willing to add another 50 cents if he could do it without throwing up. I'm going through another talk radio phase. Last night I listened to Open Line, where the guest was Hap Hansen, the Channel 28 weatherman who explained how he lost 40 pounds. Most of the calls were from friends of his. October 6th. I've paid my rent and my phone bill, leaving me with 43 cents. In the late afternoon, I went with Mom and Dad, who were thinking of buying a rental unit on Clark Avenue, a duplex. This instead of the beach house that was all just talk. The current tenants weren't home, and while I was walking through the place, almost snooping but not quite, I came across a kitten taking a nap in a red NC State beanbag chair. Last night on Open Line, the guests were from the Anti-Defamation League. Klan members and jerks called, saying they drive the Jew carpetbaggers out of the South back to where they came from. I am into Open Line. October 7th. Lisa and I have started taking Greek classes at the church. Our teacher is Jimmy Nixon, and there are 9 students. 6 of them are children, and I can't figure out what they're doing there. Most of them sound excellent to me, though really, what do I know? Class is 2 hours long. During the 15-minute break that comes in the middle, Lisa and I ran out front to smoke. There is one full-blooded American in the class, a woman who's taking it to satisfy her husband. October 9th. I had a cheeseburger for breakfast in the plastered Daisy Leach's hallway. On her refrigerator is posted a recipe for Granny's Bible cake. Ingredients include John chapters 12 through 18, Matthew chapter 3, and a pinch of Leviticus. Miss Leach is planning to paint her kitchen yellow, like her neighbor Mrs. McGillis did. I mentioned this to Mrs. McGillis, who said, "Monkey see, monkey do." October 12, 1981. Raleigh. I've started the now empty Jernigan apartment. Someone in their family left a note on the bathroom door reading, "Gentlemen, be like Dad, not like Sis. Lift the lid before you piss." They left behind a Dayglow poster of astrological sex positions, which made me think of the apartment a few doors down and of a picture Gretchen and I found while emptying everything out. It was a crude drawing of a man screwing a woman from behind, and on the bottom was written, "Roll over, my dear." There are always treasures left behind at the Empire Apartments. October 19th. There are no grocery stores directly en route from Mom and Dad's rental units on Colleton. You pass a couple of 7-Eleven type places, but nowhere that has actual food. If I ride a half mile out of my way, I can stop at the Winn-Dixie on Person Street. All the fruits and vegetables there are prepackaged, so you can't buy just one onion or lemon or sweet potato. It's all in plastic, so you can't even squeeze something to tell if it's ripe. Their stacks of canned specials are a joke. How are 2 small cans of tomatoes for $1 a bargain? The prices are crazy, which kills me, seeing as it's in one of the city's poorest neighborhoods. The cashiers are white and young, wearing Van Halen t-shirts under their uniform tops. I passed one of the girls on her break, and she was sitting on the filthy floor next to the entrance. They don't even carry pints of milk at the Winn-Dixie. You'll have to buy a whole expensive gallon. October 23rd. While I was riding my bike home from Colleton after painting last night, 3 black guys started throwing rocks and bottles at me. Again, I was faced with a decision. Do I give them the pleasure of speeding up, or do I just continue at a regular pace and pretend this isn't happening? I'm guessing that if one of the bottles had hit me in the head, they'd have just laughed and run away while I crashed onto the street. This morning, a girl almost ran over Lou Stark at the crosswalk in front of Jimmy's Market. Lou was together enough to get the license plate, then she called the girl's parents. She's from Mount Olive, apparently, and Lou got her into big trouble. October 24th. Three who threw rocks and bottles at me were on foot, so I couldn't get anyone into trouble. October 25th. Again, last night I went to Lynn's and watched the PTL, Praise the Lord Club. Jim Baker, the co-host, is desperate for $50 million. He looks like a baby monkey. Not just a baby, not just a monkey. October 29th. When Gretchen went off to RISD, she left behind her cat Neil, who was abandoned a few months earlier by Randall. After assuring she was not my responsibility, I let her in. Now every day I regret it. Neil breaks every pet rule in the book. If she were a person, she'd hang out at the trailway station.